Hi, uh, welcome to today's devotional podcast with Dr. Jacob Al. We have come to the last phase of arousal in our series, Naked and Not Ashamed. This is the phase of arousal or love making that is mostly ignored by couples, and it is very costly to ignore this phase of love making, because this is the stage that will set you up for the next stage. The way you handle this last phase of sexual intercourse will determine how your partner will be ready for the next stage. So, as usual, we're going to be looking at this fourth stage phase is known as the relaxation phase, and that will be episode 45. And our text today is taken from Songs of Solomon, chapter 7, verses 10. uh, I am my beloved's, and his desire is towards me. I am my beloved, and his desire is towards me. Once again, this is the Shunammite woman. It is the female who is making this declaration. And so the Shunammite woman is not ashamed declaring her love and her act of intimacy with her husband. And so it is important that women begin to understand that they are not to be silent or quiet when it comes to this area of the marriage. You probably may think that you are more spiritual if you tone it down and don't probably even seem to make it even look as though you enjoy this phase of your marriage. But if you do that as women, and that is the mistake that many Christian women make, and the surveys and the studies have confirmed this. When there is lack of communication in the area of sexual intimacy in the marriage, then it invariably affects sexual satisfaction. Remember, when there's open communication, and you verbalize your fears and your excitements in this area within the marriage context, it creates room for more satisfaction. And so that is what this last stage of the love making episode is all about. Taking time to just relax and enjoy each other, even after you have just come out from this high tension climax of love making. So consider this final phase as an afterglow. Consider it as an afterglow. In fact, according to a doctor's periodic description of this phase, consider the final phase as an afterglow. After passionate intercourse, the passion fades to uh, into a lovely, quiet glow. That is what is supposed to be. It should face off into a lovely, quiet glow. And how will that happen? Here is the time for the husband to show tenderness towards her wife by giving her hugs, kisses, and love pats. So unfortunately, most men, after they ejaculate and everything is over, very often, and I've fallen victim to this at times, I want to be honest with you, you get so exhausted that you just doze off, and you just go to your side of the bed and start snoring. Now, without saying anything to your wife, without knowing how she feels or what has happened, she's just giving you the ride of your life. You've just had so much. So take it that you've both enjoyed this, and you have climax and orgasm at the same time. It takes time for you to fade off. Now, immediately you realize, as we mentioned in our last episode, when you the man ejaculate, even if you both climax together rhythmically at the same time, it is important that you understand that the woman's orgasm, it's in different stages, or it can happen multiple times. Unlike the man's ejaculation spares out the semen, and that ends it. And sometimes most men, after the age of 30, 40, after ejaculating, your penis definitely deflates. It cools down. But younger men may still find themselves hot in the area of their penis till probably it takes maybe 30 minutes for them to cool down. And so very often men who uh, definitely have their penis cooled down, they invariably just go to shift to the side of their bed, and they begin to snore, they begin to sleep. uh, but this is the time that, as we mentioned, when you ejaculate, and even if you have both been able to time your orgasm and you have it together, understand that your wife is still capable of experiencing a series or a number of orgasms. So don't just leave her and roll to the side of your bed and start snoring. You should still be able to engage her with your fingers at this point. Obviously, I mean, if you are the type of man that is fortunate to still have erection, you can still, as long as you can, still leave yourself inside her, leave your penis inside her. Don't quickly get off her, leave it inside her, and continue to try to use your fingers to play with her clitoral area. She is capable of experiencing a couple of or more orgasms before she would die down, completely exhausted. Now, and you can notice that if you, as a man or husband, you notice that you have both come together and had a blissful orgasm, don't just give up immediately. As I said, continue to caress her, continue to massage her in whatever form you can, and don't be quick to pull off her. She may still be in the position to gain further some more orgasms till you have every sign that she is relaxed and okay. Then, even then, you still hold tight to her, and this is the time that you both should begin to express each words to each other, your appreciation for each other. And this is very important. This is where you begin to share your, oh, I've had the, honey, you've given me the best ride of my life. I've had the best time with you. I'm so appreciative that you are capable of satisfying me this way. You do, just by giving me this ride, this type of satisfaction. It's just amazing. I love you, and I continue to love. This is the time that you begin to shower her, and likewise the man. The woman, it don't leave the words, the praises to only the man to do. Let your man understand that you appreciate what he's been able to do for you. Honey, I'm telling you, this is an exciting time. It's a good time of orgasm I've had. I want to thank you for taking the time to bring me to this climax and helping me reach orgasm. You verbalize it. Let your partner know that you appreciate the patience and the timing that he's put in, the efforts that he's put in to get you to a point that you can both or reach the orgasmic points. Okay, so the couple needs to express their appreciation as they lay close to each other, uh, arms in arms, and enjoy each other's company. I mean, you look exhausted at this point, but it's a blissful time. Just continue to be together and just begin to shower each other with sweet, loving words. The couple would then be able to relax entirely together. Depending on your age, it may take up to 15 minutes for the physical signs of arousal to disappear. And in younger men, it may take up to half an hour before the erection completely disappears. So that's what I was saying. So depending on your age, now if you are past a certain age, you may just all finish that being so exhausted. And but the fact is, don't separate from her. Men, we are used to doing that. We just roll back to our corner of the bed and we begin to snore, and we don't even care about how your wife is feeling. This is the time that you should still be close contact, hug each other, put your arms around each other, and begin to express your appreciation, and even offer a word of prayer in thanksgiving to the Lord for enabling you enjoy each other. I mean, I've done that a number of times. It's just exciting. At that point, you are one, you are united together, because Paul says that don't you know that in the act of sexual intercourse, you have become one with a prostitute? So if that happens, if you are in the same manner, when you have intercourse with your wife, at that point you have become one. You seem to have merged together, and the fact that the two has become one is fulfilled in this act of sexual intercourse. And so when you have merged at that point spiritually, it's often powerful to even praise the Lord and thank the Lord, or even pray after that. It is powerful, because whatsoever the two of you shall agree on as binding on earth, the same is done in heaven. So I cannot see any point in your marital life that you will be more united and in sync and on the same page than just after you have had a climatic or a very exciting sexual intercourse. It is amazing, and you can create an altar always after that. You can spend a few minutes just thanking the Lord for your lives and for your marriage, and asking the Lord to continue to bind you together with cords that cannot be broken. I mean, it's a powerful symbolism, and not only symbolic but spiritual. It has spiritual meaning to it, because you have just been united one. You have been one in the act of love making, and it's a powerful. But some may resist and say, "Well, we just don't see how you can bring God here." No, you can do that. It is scriptural. You are one with your wife in the act of sexual intercourse. The two have become one. You have agreed together. There's no point time in your marriage that you will be more in line to agree with each other, or being one than in the act of sexual intimacy. So please take that as an opportunity to spend time to, after that, to thank the Lord, praise the Lord, worship Him before you all probably will just doze off to sleep. What a powerful moment it'll be. And the enemy hates that. It'll be a time that you can dive a powerful bombshell into the camp of the enemy against your marriage, when you get united in the act of sexual intercourse, and then just after that spend time praising the Lord, thanking the Lord, and praying unto the Lord is powerful. So using all the skills you possess to make your marriage partner happy will bring you a unique sense of satisfaction. And that's what I was just saying. I mean, it's just a wonderful time that you can spend together just after you have had this powerful encounter together in the act of love making. Now, physical unions should be exciting, competitions to see which partner can please the other more than the other. I mean, it's amazing if you even have a competition on, just which of us has really put too much or put a lot into making us rich where we are. I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's a powerful, exciting. Don't make it monotonous. That's the point. Don't make the act of love making in the marriage to become so monotonous that there's nothing exciting. Explore and do new things that will continue to bring excitement in your marriage. And that will be powerful. So the husband's responsibility is to satisfy his wife as the most significant authority globally. So, in other words, you, the husband, you in this whole wild world, maybe out of the 7.5 billion people, you are the only one God has given the right to pleasurize your wife. And the wife, too, you should understand that out of the 7.5 billion people on earth here, you are the only woman the Lord has given this man to you to pleasurize and satisfy him. So you should take that as a very serious assignment and calling. And so when you all have this clear understanding, then there will not be bickering about what to do. And this is an area that a lot of Christian women take for granted. They take for granted their role in keeping their husbands sexually pure. You should be praying about it in the first place as a wife, and also, even as a man, you should be praying about the sexual purity of your wife. And the wife equally should be praying about the sexual purity of the husband. And when you pray that God should keep your husband pure sexually, you have to remember that now so to you have a role in keeping that prayer to come to pass, because men are such that, as we have discussed over this period of episodes, there is a point where in the prostate or the semen gland, that when it becomes full, it must get some type of release. There must be some releasing. And we did mention that for unmarried men or boys, they do that through wet dreams. The Lord gives them wet dreams and they are able to release the tension then. Now, if you are married, it's very difficult. It's hard for you to get to have wet dreams. And so it becomes the responsibility of you, the wife, to understand the biological makeup of your husband and initiate it. I mean, once a week, it is said that this gland of semen, after the prostrate of the man, is full after 3 days. Now, as we heard uh, um, in the last episode, for a full replacement of cement will take 24 hours. But 3 days is a time that it could reach it is peak, and would need some would begin to send some homos and signals to the man that it needs emptying or it needs attention. At most a week or two. Now, when you stretch it, yeah, your husband may have the control to not have an edge. But when the hormones are so comes up so strongly, and he has an edge to release, and you, the woman, are not in the mood and deny him, you are invariably inducing him to get satisfaction in other places. And this is where the men are driven into pornography. Most of the time, in my counseling with married couples, the men complain that their wives, what drove him to pornography was the wife either blatantly for a period of time have refused to give her body to him, and he had been burning, tried to control himself, and have not been able. So he found relief in pornography and then masturbation in order to release himself. Now, men are biologically made, and these come naturally. So, as a Christian woman, when you are praying for sexual purity of your husband, you have to remember that you need to grant him the opportunity to be able to release himself when the tension comes. He's a biological makeup. It doesn't matter how spiritually matured he is. It is a biological makeup. And when the time comes, these hormones go wayward, and you refuse to give him the avenue to release himself, then you invariably are tempting your husband. You are creating a process for your husband to be tempted. And that is where they are driven to pornography and even outright fornication and adultery. Because you fail to give him, you feel, you say, oh, you are not in the mood, and you never are in the mood. You are very harsh, even the way you express this to your husband. And so even when you claim you are not in the mood, you are not at any time able to come back when you feel you are in the mood, understanding that you need to release your husband in this area, help him to be sexually pure in this area. And the statistics have shown that this is when married Christian men are driven into all types of perverse ways in order to release the tension. And so, if you are a Christian, godly woman, you have to understand that it should be part of your responsibility. And in fact, you should be concerned if after a long period of time, your husband doesn't seem to make any advances towards you. That how is he dealing with his urge? He's a biological being. How is he dealing with it? It should be your concern. Invariably, if you check, I'm telling you, he is finding a way of releasing himself. And it might be through pornography or masturbation. And if that happens, you invariably has caused that because you fail to understand your role in helping him release the tension when his hormones are wayward. Okay. And the same way, the men must understand that it is our responsibility to ease our wife's tension when it comes to the area of releasing herself. Each and every one of us, we are biological, and as we have looked at, that is why we went into details and looked at the various genitalia of both the man and the woman and the reproductive systems. God has created these things to work harmoniously and naturally. And so when Paul says in First Corinthians chapter 7, verses 1 to 5, thereabout, that we should not deny each other of each other's body, he adds that lest we open the door for Satan, for the enemy to come in and tempt. And that is why Paul gives the recommendation that even in the period of fasting, it must be mutual and it must be for a short period of time. So you can come together quickly so you don't allow room for the enemy to step in and tempt you one another. And so even as we end this phase of love making, it is important for us to end at this note. Okay, please, 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 Christian couples, take this role of pleasurizing each other seriously. Just as you care about your spiritual health, your sexual health in marriage is equally important. If you neglect that, invariably it's going to morph into spiritual problems. Believe me, mark it on the wall. That is why I am doing this series. Every one of the marital issues that I came across during the lockdowns was as a result of the negligence in the area of satisfying each other sexually. The man is a biological being. There are certain organs of the man that produces semen, and at a point when the edge is so strong and you, the woman, you fail to satisfy him, guess what? He will look for that satisfaction elsewhere. He will need to release the tension elsewhere. You are the only woman among the 7.5 billion of people on earth here. You are the only woman the Lord has given the responsibility to ease his tension. And you may claim to be a prayer warrior, a Proverbs 31 woman. You fast and you pray. You are in cloud nine in the spiritual realms. If you neglect this area, believe me, you have neglected a very serious spiritual part of your life, because you are responsible in doing this to your partner. Equally, the same will is the man. You need to have this understanding. It is clear that you have the responsibility in providing this intimacy and pleasure to your wife. Woe to you, or if you neglect that to an extent that your wife will seek the satisfaction elsewhere. You are the only one that God has given the responsibility. So you can't just say you are not in the mood. For over a month or two, there is nothing that has happened between you. There must be something wrong. And this will morph into spiritual problems. And this happens, and when whereof the husband views whereof into become a pornographic addict that goes down to the point of even having extramarital, defiling the marriage bed, you have no one to blame. And sometimes some of us matured Christian women, oh, my husband will never do that. Oh, he's a matured spiritually, so he will never do that. Please, he is a man. Anything can happen to any man with the right conditions. So don't fool yourself that your husband is spiritually matured and he will never fall into such a temptation. As long as he's a man, he's prone to all types of temptations. Anything can happen. That is what happens. And we hear of this big mega church pastors having to have problems, sexual problems, moral failures, simply because they fail to get the satisfaction from their wives. And so at the end of the day, it cost them their whole ministry. But if there's an amicable understanding between you, you are sexually pure and you hold each other accountable sexually in the area of purity, believe me, there is no way the enemy can come in between you, as Paul has said in First Corinthians. Don't give the enemy room to tempt you in this area of sexual intercourse. Please, you have each other to hold accountable, and you need to take it as seriously as your spiritual life. If you neglect it, it's going to become spiritual problems. And that is exactly what this series is all about. So we end with this. The Shunammite woman. Therefore, it is the wife's advantage to be able to say joyously, as the bride of in Songs of Solomon, I am mine, and his desire is towards me. I am my beloved's, and his desire is towards me. That is the woman declaring it. That is the woman, the Shunammite, declaring it in Songs of Solomon. I am my beloved, and his desire is towards me. And so, ladies, please, this is an important issue, that if you value your spiritual life and the spiritual atmosphere of your family, you want to pay attention to this. Give it the necessary attention that it. Don't fool yourself that your husband is matured and he will never be tempted. You are fooling yourself. If the right conditions comes, he's a biological makeup, he is bound to fall just like any other man. The only way that this can be stopped is for each and every person in the marital relationship to play their role well and understand that it is something that has a lot to do even with the spiritual atmosphere of the whole house and the family. Thank you for taking time to listen to today's devotional podcast. Now, as I usually have said, this is scriptural. There is no way an unbeliever will understand what Paul said in First Corinthians chapter 7, verses 1, thereabout. There is no way. And even to add to this, it is important. Just as Paul has said, if you are a Christian wife and your husband is an unbeliever, due to the temptation and opening the door for the enemy, it is important that you take heed of this and not go on very prolonged period of fasting without giving aid or getting the permission of your spouse. It is important. It takes a Christian couple with understanding to be able to live amicably and enjoy each other in a way that will cause a spiritual bonding and physical bonding of your life together. And if there is any problem, you don't know Jesus, I want to encourage you. It takes less than 1 billionth of a second to accept Jesus into your marriage and into your life, first of all. Then, when Jesus comes into your marriage, it makes all the difference. You get to understand each other's role and you get to understand how important it is to keep this going in order to keep a healthy spiritual atmosphere in your home. Thank you for taking time to listen to today's devotional podcast. Pray with me. My Lord and Savior Jesus, I thank you for your word. It is the entrance of your word that giveth life. I commit myself into your hands and I ask that, Lord, you heal our marriage and help us. First of all, we surrender this marriage to Jesus. Come into our hearts, each and every one of us. We confess you as Lord and we declare you as Lord of our lives. Become Lord over our marriage and help us in every way so we can fix this issue of marital intimacy, sexual intimacy in our marriage. Thank you for creating us perfect. Thank you for healing every aspect of our body and granting us the opportunity to be able to enjoy each other. Thank you. In your precious name I pray. Amen. So, beloved, listen, if you have any questions, any points, as usual, please send me if, an inbox, Facebook inbox messages. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel uh, and send me any questions or comments that you have. Feel free to do that. Thank you for taking time to listen to today's devotional podcast. God bless.